This right here is the Sony ZV-E1, a camera so nice, I bought it twice. Let's talk about it. The Sony ZV-E1 came out a couple of years ago and it was pushed as a vlogger camera. It was pushed as a camera for those who wanted to step up from being cell phone shooters or point and shoot camera shooters. It was being pushed and marketed towards them. At least that's what all the YouTube influencers and the YouTube infomercial videos that I saw was marketing this camera towards those types of people. I'm not one of those people, but from what I saw of what the spec sheet said, that camera really interested me a lot because we're taking the same sensor from the FX3, the same sensor from the A7S III, which took the independent filmmaking and the YouTube tech camera filmmaking space by storm. That same sensor is now in the ZV-E1 in a smaller, compact, lighter body. That appeals to me because while I love what I can get out of the FX3 and the A7S III, I wanted something that was significantly cheaper. I was trying to drop no $3,000-$4,000. And with the price point of $2,200 when it first launched, and now it's jumped up to $2,500 because of the times that we're in. But even still, even now at $2,500, this camera is still significantly cheaper than the FX3 used or new and the A7S III used. I still think it's a great buy, and in this video I want to talk about all the reasons why. The number one reason why is this color science. I know historically the whole Sony thing has been a running joke online that the Sony colors run green and stuff like that, and that was something I was extremely wary of as someone that's coming from a Canon shooter. I was a Canon R8 shooter, and you know Canon is always very friendly to the melanin, so I was very scared like, oh man, that's gonna make my work in post even harder. But that's not the case. This is fresh out of camera. This is not log. I don't shoot log. I don't want to deal with all of that. I just want something that looks great, clean, and saturated, fresh out of camera. In a ZV-E1, maybe it's just because it's sharing the same sensor as the A7S III and the FX3, I'm able to get that. And that improved my workflow immensely. It sped everything up. But the Canon, I would really have to really push and pull the colors in post, and that bogged me down because that's not a skill set that I crave nor want. The whole Sony green thing, I don't know, that doesn't exist to me. Maybe in S-Log it does, but in the standard color profile, this is just a neutral tone, and I just tweaked the colors a little bit, the settings a little bit, and this is good money. So for me, this was the number one main reason why. It's the look I could get from this camera, fresh out of camera, without having to do too much adjusting in the settings. The second reason is I get to use Zeiss glasses, and I know some people aren't that up on glass. If you're a younger photographer or filmographer or videographer, whatever you consider yourself. But for me, having the window open to, oh, I get to touch Zeiss glass. And there's some micro contrast, there's some character. Look, I grew up shooting on film. Yes, I'm that old. But the film character, being able to choose your different film simulations, whatever pack of film, whether you're a Fuji guy or a Kodak guy back in the day, like whatever you were, you're able to kind of dictate the output, the end result of your photo by whatever film you chose. And I like that. And I think now with this movement into digital sensors and mirrorless cameras and things like that, your lens now becomes that. Where if you want to add some character, if you want to add some color, you need it to happen within the lens. At least that's my perspective, because I'd rather do it within the lens than having to spend hours in post or buying and trying a whole bunch of different LUT packs to get some kind of variation. I'd rather the lens give me the character that I'm looking for in 2026 and going forward. So the Zeiss lenses, this right here is a 25 f2. Over here we have the 55 1.8. And I have a whole bunch of set. I have the whole Zeiss Baddest line. I have, a whole bunch of Zeiss glass. And that to me adds the character, that micro contrast. That's what I was looking for as opposed to just a flat, neutral, looking lens. Yeah, I don't care about sharpness in the corners. That doesn't appeal to me. Like, I'm looking for the best quality in terms of whatever I'm trying to frame and scope and craft. What does that look like? Does it have that punch, the 3D pop thing? I don't know if I really co-sign that, but there is some micro contrast and there is some character in all the Zeiss lenses that I have tried. And that was a huge selling point for me into investing into the Sony ZV-E1 line. Another thing about these cameras is that they're light. They're light as hell, bro. They're under 500 grams. And when you pair this with a super light lens, it's an extremely vlog friendly setup. And that's why the camera was marketed as such. But I think the power in this camera is all the spec sheet stuff. It's the interior, it's the innards of the camera, because you're giving me 4K 120 with a super minimal crop. I think 1.1 times crop. That's less of a crop than the A7 IV that everyone's going crazy for. That has a Super 35 crop in 4K 120. You're getting 1.1 times crop in the ZV-E1. And this camera is older than the A7 IV that just dropped. So, I mean, right there, you're getting cleaner specs off rip. 4K, 60 frames per second, no crop. Again, it's a smaller sensor. So that's why it's able to pull off these higher frame rates with not as many crops. But to me, that's the point. Like, with this video-centric camera, if you're trying to shoot videos, if you're trying to shoot films, if you're trying to get into your cinematography bag, your DP bag, or you just want to push the limits of what you want to do in terms of vlogging, this camera can literally do it all. One of the things that was pushed against this camera was the fact that it overheats. Because it's a small, compact body and it has all this power inside of it to give you 4K 120 with a very minimal crop and a 4K 60 readout with no crop, it overheats. Now, a lot of videos were dropped and a lot of people, influencers, infomercialers were pushing back like, this is a really hardcore flaw. You can't take this camera serious. It's not cinematic, yada, 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 ray. For me, that was crazy because I'm like, there's literally accessories online that can solve the issue. The biggest flaw with this camera is the fact that it overheats. For $20 to $30, you can go and get fans for this camera, slap it on the back, and you have literally infinite recording. Your batteries will run out faster than this camera overheats once you add on a $20 to $30 accessory, and then the biggest flaw is gone. Like, that talking point kind of just went away once you slap on a $20 to $30 upgrade. So again, while the FX3 has a built-in fan, the A7S III doesn't have a fan, but it has way better cooling than this camera. I'm getting the same sensor that's in both of those cameras at a more than $1,000 cheaper price point. And the only flaw that it has, I can fix with a $20 to $30 upgrade. That's a dub in any chat across the world. When I was in college, I put myself through college by being a paparazzi photographer. I was able to go outside and shoot with my Nikon at first, and I think I pivoted over to Canon at some point. But like, I was shooting film, and then I made the jump to early digital cameras. And for me, those sensors were like 6 megapixels. I think I had a Nikon D50. I think it was like 6 megapixels. And I was taking high quality work that got me published in newspapers and magazines. And I was able to blow up those photos in my portfolio. And those photos were 8x10, 11x16. And I'll put some B-roll here of me going through just some, way more, but just some of the stuff that I one of my old portfolio books. And those photos are crispy and clear. And they were blown up. And they were blown up from film, and they were blown up from a 6 megapixel camera. So the fact that I'm getting double that in this sensor with these ZV-E1s, you're telling me I can't take good photos with it? Yes, is it the 33 megapixels of the A7 IV with which I shot the opening scene with, or the A7 IV that just dropped, A7 V that just dropped? No. But you can't tell me I can't take good, clean, crisp photos with 12 megapixels as opposed to 6 back in the day, and I was getting paid buku bread for it. I just wanted to make this video to extol the greatness of what I think this camera holds. And I think that's why you haven't seen a ZV-E1 Mark II come out, because I really don't know what else they can add to this camera. Could they add a small fan in it and make it built in? But then that would make it bigger and heavier, which again takes away from it being part of the ZV line, which is supposed to be a vlogging, more content creator focused line. So what enhancements could you do? You're getting 4K 120 already. You're getting 4K 60 already, no crop. What more do you want out of this camera? It's already hella light. You gonna make it lighter? What more can you get out of this camera? What more do you want out of this camera? So for the fact that this camera is still available right now, you can get it for about 2 G's right now used. And I think used is always a way to go when it comes to buying gear. Used first. Then if you can't find nothing really good, then maybe you consider something new, if it's on sale like that. At least that's my philosophy. I got a video on this channel talking about that. I'll link it here or put it in the description. But when it comes to this camera, I just want to extol the virtues of it because I've shot really high quality content. I have a sports YouTube channel, and I did a mini doc, 2 mini docs over there using these cameras as the primary camera. And I showed it to people that I know within the industry. And they were like, what camera did you shoot this on? And I was like, a ZV-E1. They was like, what's that? And these are folks that shoot on Venices and Buranos and Arri Alexas and stuff like that. And they were like, what is a ZV-E1? And when he looked it up, they was like, what is this? And I'm like, yeah, it's a little vlogging camera, but I'm able to push it and get these types of results from it. So I really love this camera, and I really love what it does for me because it opens up my creations even more, and it doesn't kill me at the bank. Like, let's be clear, 2 G's is not cheap, right? But when you're talking about, FX3 is still 4 G's. An A7S III new is still almost 4 G's, and if you get it used, you're still talking about like 26, 27, 28, maybe even 3 G's used. You're getting this for 2 G's used. I mean, the savings there can really help you add more stuff to your arsenal. You could go get a couple of Zeiss lenses with $1,000 that you're saving by going with the ZV-E1. Now you're really locked in with the clean, crisp, micro contrast, character filled image. And that to me is what it is. I'm tired of these flat images that only look good if you slap a bunch of LUTs on there. I want something fresh out of camera, put a good lens that has some micro contrast and character on it, and let's go. While the notion of a perfect camera doesn't exist, there's no such thing as a perfect camera. It's a prevailing notion online. I think that's nonsense. This camera, the Sony ZV-E1, is perfect for me because it gives me everything that I am asking for. It gives me the resolutions and the frame rates that I want. It gives me the image that I want, and it's light and it's compact and allows me to move around with it, and it gives me access to glass that I want. So for me, it is a perfect camera because it is perfect for everything I am asking of it. So while you might not think that this camera is perfect for you, you might find flaws in it because it doesn't have a built-in fan, or it can't give you 4K 240 or anything like that. For me, 4K 120 minimal crop, 4K 60 no crop. This sensor, good photos, if not great photos, because I know what the hell I'm doing. What more could I ask for? And that's why I don't think we've gotten the ZV-E1 Mark II yet. If we do, I'll be right here to talk about it because I want to know what Sony will try to do to improve upon this, because it is perfect for me.